once you give that long-term signal, I really believe, just as the United States has done for sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides in their power plants, they solved the problem in a far less expensive way than was originally estimated. In terms of scrubbing the SOx and NOx out of our power plants, it's 4 or 5 times less expensive than what even the EPA said it would cost. And the EPA wanted, believe me, wanted the cost to be as low as possible. So once you start this, industry can take over. It's just like the refrigerator story. Once the lobbyists and lawyers are out of the way, the engineers take over, good things happen. Now, there are estimates of the cost of this program. Particularly, there are detailed estimates of the current bill that passed Waxman-Markey in the House, and they vary. The Congressional Budget Office cannot be politically influenced. It works for Congress. The Energy Information Administration also, even though it's part of the Department of Energy, I have no influence over it. They're economic analysts who just try to get the best answer possible. Maybe some of it leaks into EPA, I don't really know. But when asked how much is this comprehensive tax bill going to cost by 2020, the answer was, well, about a postage stamp a day. So here we are in the United States wondering, could the American family invest a postage stamp a day, 44 cents, so that you put in a long-term signal that says the United States technology and innovation to be leaders in a new industrial revolution and to help combat climate change and to leave a better world for our children and grandchildren. Or you say, it's just too expensive. We can't afford it. And that's the dialogue and that's the debate that's currently occurring. For those in the audience, I hope you come on the side, we can't afford 44 cents a day. But it's the lost opportunity. We can be leaders in a new industrial revolution that will create new jobs and create prosperity. And if we don't do this, the train is leaving. China's gotten on board. We will be the laggards, and we will give up our opportunity to be a leader in this industrial revolution. And we will have done something to the climate, because quite frankly, if we don't do this, China will not. If we do this, I'm very confident, actually, China will follow. But, you know, we'll see. So finally, what can I do, you, the people in this audience? Let your public officials know you care. Save energy and money in your home. That's to all of you, turn off the lights when you're not using them. Ask yourself, do you really need 300 or 300 horsepower to get yourself to the market? Is 200 enough? Put your computer in sleep mode. Where did it come up with that one? Well, your computer, which in your offices at the University of Rochester or at homes, your average computer, depending on what type it is, can use anywhere between 100 and 330 watts just sitting there, not doing anything. Okay? If you put it in the sleep standby mode, it uses between 1 and 6 watts. And took as a specific example an iMac G5, uses about 100 watts when it's doing nothing. And you put in sleep mode, it uses 3 watts. Now, sleep mode is a nice thing. It takes about 1 or 2 seconds for the computer to go in sleep mode and about 1 or 2 seconds to come back. So it's not like turning off and on where it's interminable. Okay? So, but you're talking a huge difference in energy. Okay? And so, and if all computers sold in the United States were Energy Star, it was as if we took 3 million vehicles off the road. It's another refrigerator story. Just in case you're wondering how to put your computer in sleep mode, you go to Control Panel, Power Options, click on Power Options. You get these power schemes, okay? Power source optimized. So it's plugged in, you know, turn the monitor off after 30 minutes, turn the hard disk off 10 minutes, put the system on standby after 10, 15, you choose. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, but it only takes 1 or 2 seconds to turn it back on. So again, it's not death. And so it shouldn't be power source optimized as the option it should be, and so it should be saving the world option. All right, so let me finish 2 things. I want you to carry away this image. It was an image, it was a picture taken by the astronauts of Apollo 8. It's the first mission that went to the far side of the moon and around. And it shows a very bleak lunar landscape. This picture is called Earthrise. It was taken when I was a student. And it shows in the background a very beautiful Earth where all the life is in this little thin shell on the surface, and a very bleak lunar landscape, a wonderful Earth, and the take-home message is there's nowhere else to go. So when the astronaut Bill Anders took this photograph, he said, we came all this way to explore the moon, and the most important thing is that we've discovered Earth. Since that time, we've discovered that we're altering the destiny of Earth. We've changed its climate, and its current trajectory is very bad. So we have another chance to mitigate that trajectory, and we should act. And so another quote taken from a time, again, when I was a student here at Rochester. Martin Luther King was talking about the war in Vietnam, and it seems even more fitting in today's climate crisis. And he said, we are now faced with the fact, my friends, that tomorrow is today. We're confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. And so with that, I thank you. Thank you. So, thank you. Wow. Okay, thank you. So I want to, I think there's time for questions, and I was told I should start with the left-hand microphone, not for political reasons, but because of AV reasons, and then we go around. So
questions.
So I'm not sure where the left-hand microphone is.
This side here. Any questions?
Okay. You should go to the microphones, stand behind in those lines, I guess, line up. I'm not sure.
I guess I have the first question. DOE is one thing, but the Department of Agriculture and our farm bills are as problematic in terms of the use of carbon and resources. And is there a conversation between yourself and the Department of Agriculture, and what is that about?
Yes. This cabinet is wonderful. The cabinet level people in the Obama administration are very, very cooperative. And so we're working with agriculture just as we're working hard in many things. How do you spread low tillage policies? Actually, one of the most things we're working on is going to be essentially invisible. How do you, these are big, huge bureaucracies, very sluggish bureaucracies, and how do you get them much more responsive and much more customer-friendly? And so that's one of the things that we're working very much on. We're working with Ag, Interior, Council on Economic Quality, FERC, on how do you start to plan long-distance transmission lines. China can do it very easily. They snap their finger, their leadership says, we're going. And in the United States, there are private companies, there are regional transmission organizations, there are ISOs, there are all sorts of things, all sorts of different ways of setting rates. And how do you actually build these multiple billion-dollar transmission lines? The cost of modernizing our lines will be very expensive, but we've got to do this. And it's a national electricity highway system. It's going to take 20, 30 years to do this, but we have to do it now. We have a very old, antiquated system. So many, many things we're trying to do, and hopefully, 4 or 8 years we get some of the stuff done.